Welcome, Mother Puss Buckets, to Geek Salad's video retro review. From the Geek Salad podcast, I'm Andy.
And I'm Mike.
And what's that?
And coming back, the original Mike.
Yeah, Mike C, our original Mike. So we got them both, and hopefully the universe doesn't collapse upon itself.
Yeah, we're going to have to go back to Mike G and Mike C again.
I know,
yeah,
right?
Pretty much. It's going to be like, so Mike, what do you think about that? No, the other Mike. No, the other Mike. So today we are talking about the 1984 classic Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Wow, okay. I was expecting something there, but
who you gonna call?
Yeah.
I think it should have been more at this point, you know.
Who can play at that game? So Ghostbusters was one. I know, Mike, you had wanted to do it. And I know, Mike C, you had wanted to discuss it as well. So thank you for joining us.
No, I'm glad to be here. This is awesome.
Yeah. So let's dive right in it. Why don't you guys give your first impressions? When was the first time you saw it? Because I just had a major beer malfunction here. So I'll be right back. You guys talk.
All right. Mike, you want to go first?
All right, thank you. I'll take the honors here. Well, I think it was like, what was it, 1984? So, oh geez, I was like, a little youngster, back in the early days. I can't even remember. Like, I saw it with my parents, And it's kind of funny when you think about the movies, like seeing in the theater, the old Marlboro 1, 2, 3. For those who remember that old theater, and I remember seeing that in the semi-big screen there. So I remember doing that and watching the movie, and just like there was like so much going on that like you couldn't like remember all of it as a kid, and then like you go back and watch it now, it's like you miss so many things like as an adult. So I thought that was pretty fun. What about you, Mike?
Well, I don't remember exactly the first time I saw it, but I do remember probably not making it through the first viewing of it because I'm not sure if it was the initial ghost or if it was the hands coming through the chair. But something scared me so bad when the first time I saw it that I stopped watching, and I didn't watch it again until back in like I want to say late 80s, early 90s. My family went down to the Museum of Science in Boston, and they had like this huge exhibit on a bunch of movies, and they had actually one of the full-size terror dogs there.
Oh,
and that was one of the things that really scared me so much from the original movie. But like they had the maquette there, and they had like the video. I think it was the show. I believe it was the scene of it, bursting through the closet and wrecking up Lewis's party. But just seeing the terror dog like there up close, and then seeing the footage right there, it clicked it for me. Like, wait, this is that, but it's not real. And so it kind of gave me a gateway. So then I probably saw it like on TV or something, and it wasn't until that point that I was like, this is a really good movie.
All right, so the first time I saw it was at the Showcase Framingham. Back when we were growing up, that was the big theater. That was the one you had to drive a half hour to get to.
Oh, those are the good old days.
Oh, yes. Yeah. And
you were saying earlier, I don't know if you heard, I went to the old Marlboro 1, 2, 3.
Yes, I did hear that. Yes, with their weird sideways screens.
Yeah, you kind of like,
There's going to the movies, and then there's going to the 1, 2, 3. Not the same thing. So when I saw it, now, first of all, I remember hearing about Ghostbusters, and when I'd heard about these guys that were trying to, catch ghosts like exterminators, my first impression was, well, Bill Murray's in it, it's comedy, and it must be that these guys are trying to catch ghosts, but ghosts don't exist in real life. And I thought that was the premise going into the movie. So when I saw the movie, I was just like, this isn't what I thought it was going to be. This is much better. And it was great. I was 12 at the time. So it was this mixture of there's comedy and goofiness to satisfy the kid side of me, like a frosted mini wheat. You know, the sugar side of me got all like the cool, funny stuff, like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man and some of the more juvenile jokes. But the shredded wheat side of me got like all the dirty jokes and all the cigarette smoking and beer swilling and ghost blowjobs and all that fun stuff.
There is a surprising lot of amount of cigarette smoking in this movie.
Oh my God, yeah. It's funny now when you watch movies like you watch the new Jumanji. No cigarettes or anything like that, and it's kind of the kids movies of today. The kids movies of today use a little bit of language. It's not as harsh. There aren't as many sexual situations. I mean, you know, Mike, the most terrifying thing when you were a child about that movie, to me, is that one of the puppeteers that were using those monster hands was groping Sigourney Weaver.
Oh yeah, there was definitely a cop feel being copped there.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, there's at least one. I think the first hand that comes out right on the breast.
Yep, right there.
And I think the last one was in the crotch too.
Yet we all think it's weird that Venkman had date rape drugs on him when he went out on a date with her.
What was that thing that he was squirting? I mean, was he like trying to, like, you know, douse the place with something?
I'm not really sure what he was.
I'm trying to figure out what he was doing with that thing, because even in the scene where, you know, when they're doing their little ad, you know, Dan Aykroyd's standing with the thing in his hand too. So I'm like,
right.
What does this thing do?
I think it was just there to waste time and just make it look like they were doing something.
I think Dan Aykroyd. Dan Aykroyd's character knew what it does. I don't think Venkman knew what it does. I think Venkman was completely a fish out of water in that entire movie.
He could point and shoot, essentially, was all he needed to do.
So, he was the witty banter, basically. He was the one that kept them all kind of like stable in a sense, because you figure Ray was the guy that really took everything literally seriously. Yeah. You had Egon, who also did, but he just took his work seriously. And then, you know, Venkman's there just to kind of basically I don't care. You know, he was just kind of phoning it. His character was phoning it in at that point. Like, okay, this isn't real. But
I like the black one. Black one, he don't do nothing. So, I mean, going back, we've all watched the movie somewhat recently. Mike, you have it on your TV right now, right?
Yeah, I just got on silent right now. So right now, that's the point where they're getting to the building and all that stuff. Rick Moranis and Dana just boned.
Oh, okay.
The door's gonna open.
I didn't quite get that on the first viewing. Third viewing, yes.
Oh yeah. Well, I didn't even figure out like when Dan Aykroyd's getting the Hummer. You know, I mean, it's like, oh, he's unzipping his pants. Oh.
Well, thank God Dan Aykroyd can cross his eyes. It's one of his few talents.
No, he can dangle a cigarette. Come on, that man.
Yeah, that was amazing to me.
No one's business.
That was absolutely amazing to me that he was able to do that. And when I used to smoke, that was like a thing I would try to do for comedic effect, and it never worked out well. That thing where you're trying to hide a cigarette and you flip it into your mouth, that is a dumb idea.
Yeah.
Kids don't smoke.
Yeah, that thing was just like dangling from his lip. It was like vertical from his lip.
Right.
How the hell does he do that?
You just need to have a really wet lower lip, and it will actually stay there. It works. There's no special effect there, but that is something I'm sure that he has tried a million times before, knew it was going to get some kind of a response, and that's why it stayed in there. A lot of this movie felt improvised. There's a lot of things in this movie that were probably not on the script at all, because partly, when you think about who was going to be cast in the movie, I mean, Belushi was going to be cast in this movie. There was no Belushi part in the final cut.
No.
Well, I mean, it's an Ivan Reitman movie, and Ivan Reitman is pretty good at finding ad-lib moments that really work.
Right. But he's an actor's director too, and he lets this is the kind of movie where you let your guys do what they need to do. I've said for the last few years, going back and watching it now, Egon may actually be the funniest character in the entire movie.
Oh yeah,
it's like the straight man that is like just has the best lines.
Well, yeah, he's got that thing in the hotel where Venkman is breaking down the costs, and he's like, doing this
Oh,
thing with his face where he's like $3,000, $1,000 disposal, $2,000, and it was stuff like that's brilliant. There's that one scene towards the end when they're getting hauled off to jail.
Oh, your mother.
Our mother. And it
Oh,
was so Egon line. And it works so perfectly because he's always in control. He doesn't raise his voice at all. And having something like that was just perfect.
Well, you figured too. This was basically his baby was the the containment system. Okay, he built that thing and created that thing, and all of a sudden, good old what's his name comes in and basically just
Pecker.
Peck, who basically just but William Atherton, who just plays the best dicks in the world.
Oh yeah,
just has it shut down, and you just shut down his BIS project. So yeah, he's gonna be a little mad.
Yeah. I mean, all in all, I think this movie has got a phenomenal cast. There is nobody I feel could have been cast better.
No.
Nah. I mean, even like for the dude, Rick Moranis is freaking hilarious in this movie.
Oh, that was. This is right after Strange Brew. This is right after like the SCTV stuff. So yes, it's perfect for him because that was his bread and butter from this point going forward.
And he's really a bit part until that party, and then he becomes a major role. But then he's half a dog half the time.
Yeah,
right. But he's got like that great bit where they find him like wandering the streets.
Yeah. So, should I have some? Yes, have some. Yes, have some.
And of course, we should get these two together. And he's just drinking the water. He just smiles and just like this. I think it's a really bad idea.
Yeah, even like, I mean, come on, even Jean Kasem is in that movie and she's okay in it. She was the blonde. Lewis, I'm leaving.
Oh.
She had a very distinctive look for the 80s. She was a very tall, skinny blonde who had this enormous top knot ponytail. That was it. That is all I could tell you about Jean Kasem.
I think she was Mrs. Tortelli. That's the only other thing I can say about her.
Right, where she's essentially playing the same character with the same long top knot
the
ponytail.
Blonde. It was the 80s Ditzy Blonde.
Yes, exactly.
Pretty much.
She was married to Casey Kasem.
Oh, well, all right. I didn't know that. He's in the movie.
Yeah. So, I mean, when this came out, when we all saw it in the theater, except for, I'm sorry, Mike, you said you saw it on TV, right? On HBO?
Yeah. No, not HBO. It was probably more like 56.
No,
movie
watch all your movies on 56.
Well, this is the 80s and 90s. That's pretty much where you got most of your movies.
Yeah.
We didn't get cable until 1996.
Was there a point where you guys rediscovered the movie? Like, it's always, to me, it's always been my favorite movie from the 1980s. I honestly think out of like that pantheon of 80s classics, it is the it is my personal favorite. And but when did you guys rediscover it as adults? When did you rediscover it?
I'll start this. I don't know. I don't think I ever like rediscovered it. I think it was like always there. But I think as I kept watching it over and over again, like I learned to appreciate more parts of it. And every time I'd see it, like something else would kind of stick out for me. So I think it just kind of just slowly grew more and more as I got to watch it and appreciate it more as an adult. So that's pretty much how I looked at it.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever kind of I rediscovered it when I saw it on Channel 56 because then it didn't scare the piss out of me. But the moment that really stuck out to me most was when I got the DVD when they released that back in the early 2000s, and they had the audio commentary with the silhouettes,
with the MST3K
style silhouettes. And as soon as I saw it, I was like, okay, all right, these guys knew what they were doing. I get it now.
I think for me, that was my major rediscovery of it. Like I had it, like, that free weekend you get HBO, and I taped it, on extra long play on a video cassette with 2 other movies. So I used to watch it that way. But that DVD, And I had the exact same DVD, Mike. So I did the commentary. I did the deleted scenes. I think then is when I started watching it going, I've always loved this movie. This movie is goddamn genius.
Mm.
There's very little in this movie I can say doesn't work.
No, I think what it is the cast. I mean, you look at these guys. I mean, you think of it. This is kind of like almost in the peak of their careers at that point, like in at least the '80s peak, we'll say. You know, you've got Bill Murray coming off of like Caddyshack, Meatballs, movies like that. And Dan Aykroyd coming off of Blues Brothers. Harold Ramis coming off a lot of directing gigs, and then Ernie Hudson. And again, this helped make Ernie Hudson a great character too. And like the nice thing about him was he was the one guy that wasn't a scientist. He just needed a job. And he's like, if there's a paycheck, I'll do whatever you want, And
can you imagine? So can you imagine what it would have been like had they got their original choice and Eddie Murphy got cast?
I think Eddie Murphy would have been too big for the role.
Yeah,
Ernie Hudson was great. Ernie Hudson was great because he was everyman. He was just, I'm just there for the paycheck. He's a blue collar guy. I mean, they're all kind of blue collar guys, but he wasn't a scientist. He was just there to help out. Yep. Eddie Murphy would have tried to steal the camera.
I agree. I agree completely. I think, I'm sorry, Mike, you were saying something?
Oh, no. I was agreeing.
Oh, okay. The thing with Ernie Hudson, yeah, he's just, as an actor, he's there to get the paycheck. And when he is funny, he is very, very funny. But I do agree with you guys. I think he has more everyman style, whereas Eddie Murphy would have been Eddie Murphy in a Ghostbusters outfit.
Too much.
I mean, some of the lines that Ernie Hudson, Winston has, we got the tools, we got the talent.
It was like just enough. Like he was like, he threw his lines in there, and that was great about him. Because really, Bill Murray's lines were some of the best lines too, because he just had those snarky comebacks every single time. And I think that's what made it. I think if you had taken Eddie Murphy and put it in there, it would have basically taken away from Bill Murray.
I agree.
And that's where it would have really, really hurt, I think, areas. It would have hurt all the other characters, like you said. It would have hurt everybody.
Yeah. And with Bill Murray, too, most of the stuff that he says that is funny is more in response to something else somebody else says. It's like you can use the stuff that Harold Ramis says, and that's just funny on its own. But a lot of the Bill Murray-isms, you're absolutely right. No human being could stack books like this.
Yeah.
Exactly. Where do those stairs go? They go up, right?
Yeah.
That's probably my favorite line.
Go get her, Ray.
He's on the ghost too. He's like, "Where do you come from originally?" All right, the other original stuff's not working.
Yeah, but there's a lot of stuff in there. And then, let's show this prehistoric bitch how we do things downtown.
Exactly.
Oh, if only that could have gone on a poster.
Oh, by the way, the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man just showed up.
Oh my God. Okay, so
you mean Gozer the Destroyer?
Yeah.
Shut it, Mike.
Smile on its face.
When I saw this the first time, and he shows up full screen because you got like the little tee shots as he's walking through, and then when Ray goes, it's Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, and they show the full body shot. Oh, my bladder emptied completely as I laughed.
And that's something you don't see every day.
He's a sailor. He's in New York. We get this guy laid. We've got no problems.
No one steps on a church in my town.
And of course, Ray's just sitting there going, "What have I done? I just took my favorite all-time character, and it's going to destroy New York." And he's just sitting there like ready to cry.
Well, just the response when they're like, "I didn't think of somebody. Did you think of anything? I didn't think of anything. Did you think it? Ray?"
It's just like that look of complete horror on his face. Like, I didn't think this would happen.
It's like, I just want to think of the most cutest thing in the world, and, well, there it is.
Yep. And that's a testament to this movie. This movie is, you talk about something, and all of a sudden you're quoting left, right, and center every line that goes along with this movie.
Yep.
And it works.
It's very
So
cool.
let me
It really
question:
is.
what doesn't hold up in this 34-year-old movie?
I will say, I mean, as much as I love Venkman's character, he is a dick.
Oh, absolutely.
He is a grade A dick throughout, I would say, 95% of the movie.
Yeah,
But
if this were being shot today, this would be like a oh God, what's the actor who plays Stifler? Sean William Scott.
yeah.
This would be a Sean William Scott role.
Yeah.
Maybe a Ryan Reynolds role if you got a budget.
Mm.
This is also one of those movies, though, I don't think could be made to this level of success and notoriety today. And it's not one of those, well, you know, we're a little too PC about things right now. I just don't think the audience would have a hunger for something like this type of movie. In 84, you could throw shit against the wall, and if it stuck, it's a goddamn classic.
Right.
Yeah.
We just don't have that anymore, especially, you know, we had mentioned this a couple weeks ago that the high concept comedy era is dead.
Yeah.
So, but this is more like a sci-fi movie with copious amounts of humor in it.
It's weird, like watching through it. I watched it through it yesterday, and it's until like the movies that kind of converge at the end, it is really kind of telling two separate movies. One is a horror movie, and one is a dead out comedy. And then it's like as it gets towards the end, it merges,
Right.
and it becomes this mishmash that is really unexpected, but really, really welcoming. Even the music score, which I wasn't a fan of the score when I started listening to it when we started watching the movie,
Right.
but it really grows on me because it does like, when it's showing the Ghostbusters, it's like do, 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 do.
Yeah.
It's just that goofy little song. And then when it does like the Dana in her apartment, it's got that like horror, that dark and suspenseful feel to it. And then again, as it gets towards the end, it merges the styles and it really creates this amalgam that's a lot better than I thought it would be.
It's absolutely.
Talking about the soundtrack, and I was listening to a little bit before I came on, and I was thinking about Dana's theme for a second, like you were talking about a minute ago. And I love how like you hear it's got this nice string section and this kind of like haunting flute in there too. Yeah. So it gives that little bit of like a ghost feel. And I think that's what made it great. It was like, you heard that little like, ooh, it was great. But you had the string flute.
There was a lot of like slide whistle and theremin in certain areas of the soundtrack, which, you're doing a movie about ghosts. You need the theremin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just spent 3 hours, 3+ hours editing our movie score episode. So, like, ask me anything about music right now. I swear to God, I'm seeing it. I'm just seeing the music, man. It's now the other side of that soundtrack, because that's back when you used to get the two soundtracks. You'd have the original motion picture score by Elmer Bernstein, and then you'd have a very, very 80s, didn't age well soundtrack.
I mean, yes and no. I mean, that song Magic, when they play that, like when like like all the ghosts are going around and you see like Dana kind of Zool as Dana. That I think that song is a very haunting song, and I think it really works in that point.
Well, when you hear it too, it's haunting like in the movie, but when you hear the actual soundtrack version, it's very different, in a sense. It's not that haunting like background music, which is pretty cool actually, like you said. But then you hear the album one, it's okay. It's not as good, I think. That's just my 2 cents on that one.
And just like every movie that came out between 1981 and 1985, you had to get a Busboys song in there somewhere.
That's a great song, though.
Oh, it is a great song. It's just funny that's it's just like kind of like for the mid after the Busboys, everything was Kenny Loggins. Prior to that, it was all the Busboys.
With a little bit with touches of Oingo Boingo in there from time to time.
Yeah,
they had a lot of hits too from different movies.
I'm actually pulling up that's the other Ghostbusters soundtrack. I'm actually on Spotify right now, just trying to get a track listing of all the Ghostbusters stuff, and I have a lot of stuff right now for the the 2016 Girlsbusters.
I didn't mind that one. I thought all the cameos were pretty pointless, though. I don't know why they need to be there. It should have been a standalone sequel, to be honest.
Right.
I think there was a
follow up, and these guys could have like passed the torch and then just put them off to the side.
Right.
I think there could have been more story in a sequel, but I didn't. I mean, for what it was, I didn't mind it. It doesn't hold a candle to these two. I mean, even the second one, I think I like better.
If you look at the women's one, like I said, I mean, they did. It wasn't a bad movie, but it did. If you think about the formula, was the same formula as the first movie. Just the formula itself, the outline is the same thing. And my thought is in that one, just a quick thing was, I would like to see if they'd gone to the old firehouse, found all the equipment all cobwebbed up, and they go in and just remake it for them. And then the old guys come and say, we're passing the torch, it's all yours, or one of them was related to him or something like that. And then that's just my thought on that one.
I kind of felt like the remake was almost like that director, that filmmaker who is doing a comic book movie but has no appreciation for the source material.
Right.
So, by the way, I was wrong. That song Magic, that runs throughout, especially when the after they release all the ghosts. That is actually Mick Smiley. Thompson Twins did the In the Name of Love.
Yep.
Yeah. There's also an Air Supply song on here. So no erections were had by anybody.
You know what's missing on that soundtrack is the song Saving the Day. It's not on that Spotify list.
That's right. Well, actually, I'm looking at the album itself. Yeah, Saving the Day is...
it is on the album. The old album. It's like one of the keeps I ever bought.
Honestly, I like that song more than I like Ghostbusters. I do enjoy Ghostbusters, but I like Saving the Day more.
Hey, Ghostbusters, other hit book there.
Ghostbusters is what I would consider to be a very safe Halloween song at this point.
That's fair. That's fair.
It's on everybody's Halloween mix. If you've got small kids like I do, it's easy to put that in there and then have to zap through Dragula or any of the Rob Zombie, Forest Spirits videos, but or songs rather.
Oh, you're not going into the Rocky Horror genre too?
Yeah,
a little too deep for the kids.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, getting back to certain things about the movie that have aged not as good. Mike, the scene that you pissed yourself at has aged poorly.
Yeah. The terror dog scene chasing Tully Lewis. Through
New York City, the matte lines are so thick you'd swear they were drawn on with a Sharpie.
Actually, whenever you see that building, you can tell it is a matte painting.
Yeah,
that building is straight off matte painting. It's a good matte painting, but it's an obvious matte painting.
Yeah,
I will say the animatronic for the dogs look good though. They actually look, so that kind of balances it out a little bit in a sense because the special effects when they would go, they were horrible. And even like the ghost coming out of the containment unit, looked a little cartoony-ish when you look, because I was watching going, this is pretty. It was too much. It was almost like.
You know what effect really held up really well though? Slimer.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Slimer held up incredibly well considering. If you're talking about your A-list, B-list, C-list special effects, Slimer is an A-list special effect.
Mm. Yeah. Actually, another special effect that really works well is the positron beams.
Yes.
That whole effect, I mean, the trap, that one's hit or miss, but the actual positron beams was very well done. I
agree. I think that looks fantastic. The sound effects that they use for it, too.
Mm.
Oh, I love the sound effects, especially when they first turn it on. They're standing in the elevator. They turn it on, then you see like Egon and Bankman just kind of back off like this a little bit, like that's
going to back into the corner. And again, that was a great subtle Harold Ramis piece.
Yep.
I mean, that scene in the elevator is a great. It's an expositional scene. But it works because it's smooth. It doesn't seem like an expositional scene.
And it's like they have all this knowledge and they're sitting there, but yet they're scared shitless of they don't know what they're getting into. This is their first one, but then it all kind of comes together. and that's what made it kind of great.
Absolutely. All right, let's just talk long term here. I mean, we kind of already have talked about how we feel about it because, you know, this is just one of those movies that you watch as a kid. You don't so much rediscover it as an adult, but you appreciate it on a different level as an adult.
Yeah.
This is on the 11 to 12-year-old watch list for my daughter.
Yeah.
10, too young. This is 11 or 12. I was 12 when I saw it. I would be okay showing her that at 12 as well. She just watched Black Panther. So
I was 8 when this came out. So, but like I said, it was different. It was a different time. You know, it was a different time when we saw it. We weren't really as, you know, like I said, things weren't as, I think kids are a little more aware of things nowadays. I think we were a lot more innocent back in those days. So looking at it this way, you know, as a teacher too, I see it all too. Kids are a lot more aware of things now than when we were growing up.
Right.
So,
yeah,
my
kids would immediately point out, they're smoking. So,
actually, I remember another effect that didn't hold up so well.
What's that?
At the end when the concrete's falling off the building, that is so obviously styrofoam. The wind blows a couple of them around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, eagle-eyed fans will notice that porn legend Ron Jeremy is in the crowd scene in front of the building.
I missed that one.
Yeah, and I mean he looks the same then as he does now.
Ron Jeremy doesn't age.
No, he's aged.
Maybe a little more hair on the top. That's about it.
Yeah, after the heart attack, he's aged horribly. But before that, he kind of looked the same.
I thought of another downside to this movie.
Yes.
I wanted more Reginald VelJohnson.
That's right. He was in that, playing a cop.
Right. It was like
he does everything.
Like a quick scene.
Oh, yeah. He was there for like 10 seconds. He was just, Ghostbusters. We're going to see you.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was it.
Early signs of Carl Winslow.
Yep.
Or Al Powell, if you want to look at it.
I'll take the Al Powell.
Yeah, all right.
Fair enough. So, overall, this is a great movie.
That was a fantastic movie.
This is one that, you know, like when we discussed Batman a few weeks ago, it was just like, it's still a good movie in its way. There's no qualifier for Ghostbusters being a great movie. It is just simply a great movie. It's a great piece of genre.
It was an original idea with some great actors.
It is. I'm not going to go so far as to call it the perfect movie, but it is an amazing piece.
It is an eminently rewatchable movie as well.
That's what I'm going to say. Yes, eminently rewatchable. What are they on now, Mike?
Oh, I just finished it. They just finished it. It's over. That's basically when was it Lewis goes, anybody want to interview me or something?
Yeah.
You know, another person we haven't really talked. Well, actually, we haven't talked about a couple of people here. Annie Potts as Janine, who I thought was fantastic. She's just wonderful deadpan, but also Sigourney Weaver.
Yeah.
We haven't even mentioned Sigourney Weaver because she's part of that, like the horror side of the movie.
She is, and it's interesting because there are so many shades of Ripley in that, especially when she's trying to explain to them what she heard. You know, there was a light coming from my refrigerator. I heard this voice say Zool, and it's exactly like the thing she would do 2 years later in Aliens when she's trying to describe what happened to her crew.
Yeah. Right. Although she doesn't have to give the alien a big old sloppy kiss at the end like she did to Bill Murray. That was the most awkward kiss I've ever seen in my life.
I never bought them as a couple in these movies. Not even in the second one.
No. I always kind of bought into the theory that the cellist that she's talking to in that one scene in this movie is the father of the baby in the second movie.
That would make more sense than anything else, because...
Yeah. It's a good theory.
Yeah. So, you know, it just is a great movie, and after the not success of Ghostbusters 2016, I'm kind of content with leaving this one alone. This isn't something I think I need a remake for.
I'd still be down for like a sequel, like we were talking about. Where they pass off and then like just a new team in the modern time where like ghosts have just kind of like retreated and they're just starting to come back a little bit.
Yeah.
I would like that.
Well, technically, there was a sequel, if you think about it, and that was the PlayStation Xbox game.
Oh, which was fantastic.
It was a great game, and basically, you were the fifth non-talking Ghostbuster. But if you really think about it, that game really did take place right after. It was like maybe like a few months after the second movie, and they had all the voice actors come back, and it was great because you felt like a Ghostbusters. Probably one of the best sequels we could ever probably get. There you go. There it is.
That's your copy, by the way.
That's my copy.
We all upgrading the PS4s. We don't need the PS3 anymore. So this one's yours.
My PS4 is under my bed. So
I love the fact that in that game you actually get to go in and finally catch that freaking librarian ghost.
Yes.
Because they never did it in the movies.
Well, it's great. They went back to like different parts. It was a great paying homage to like the other movies, but enough that it had its own story, and that was great. And then you could upgrade your proton pack. It was fun. It was just an overall fun game.
Mm.
We won't talk about the NES game because that game was just shit.
Yes.
That was just an awful, abysmal piece of crap.
Wasn't there an Atari version as well?
There was a Commodore 64. There was Atari. The only version that was really good was the Sega Master System, out of all things. So.
I remember playing that game on the Commodore.
Yep.
Commodore.
Until you hear.
All right. Well, Mike, thank you so much for joining us.
Yes. Great coming back. I'll do so.
Yeah. Hey, whenever you want to join us again, we'll let you know what the next movie topic is, which we still haven't figured out we haven't figured this out completely yet because I just feel like lately, and this isn't a complaint, mind you, I just feel like we're cranking out more content now. So it's like, I got to do this, and oh my God, we got to figure out a movie to do. So,
I have ideas.
Yeah, I know you have ideas. I have ideas too, I'm a human being.
I'll have to go back to the movies we all grew up with, things that I think the growing up with our child, movies from our childhood, or something.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. Now that we got Mike C here, I would not mind revisiting the Star Trek movies.
Okay.
Or at least the original 6.
Okay.
I could do that. I could honestly do that. You would need to give me time because of the way I have to chop up movies now when I watch them on my own. And let's be honest with you, Star Trek The Motionless Picture will take me a week to get through.
Okay, watch 15 minutes.
And that's without me taking breaks. Boom, boom.
15 commentaries for that movie, right? It goes, I'm sorry. We're really sorry. I remember, was it on Twisted Toy Fair Theater? Remember they did a parody, did a parody of that? And you just see like it's Kirk and Scotty, the figures standing there, and you just see the Enterprise going by, and then Scotty basically, I think it's either Scotty or Kirk, he just touches the other one's ass.
Yeah, actually, no, it was Kirk and Alia or whatever her name was.
Alia.
Yeah, and it's just like it's 5 frames of them just watching the ship go by.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hey, Save Nothing. That had a great soundtrack, though.
It did.
That movie did have a great soundtrack. That's the only thing that really kind of saved. Not I won't say saved it, but it was the only thing that was helped.
Less sucky.
Yeah. And it was on my top 3. So anyway, if you loved Ghostbusters, if you hated Ghostbusters, please leave a comment below. What did we miss? Don't forget, subscribe to the channel. Give this video a big thumbs up, please. Share it with your friends. Also, you can check out our episodes of Geek Salad at geeksalad.podbean.com. We just launched our movie score episode today. Woo!
Nice.
Which is awesome. So we've got that. You can also check out the podcast right here at YouTube. You can also check it out on Stitcher, Slacker, No, I'm sorry, not Slacker. Stitcher, Spotify, iTunes, and Google Music. I've only been doing this for 10 years.
Things to listen to here.
It's only been 10 years. I should have them down already. You can also follow us on Twitter at Geek Salad Radio and follow us on Facebook at Geek Salad Podcast. Mike, you got something to say?
Yeah, Mike C. Tell us about the Twinkie.
What about the Twinkie?
What about the Twinkie, Ray?
Well, if you got this morning sample, it's 35 feet wide and approximately 600 pounds or something like that.
That's a big Twinkie.
Big Twinkie.
All right. So until next time, I'm Andy.
I'm Mike.
And I'm the other Mike.
Go forth and be nerdful. We'll talk to you soon.